It's time for Craig Smoak's Off the Radar.
All right, back here on SicEm365 Radio. Time to take a quick look at some of the stories going on that are of some interest, although not enough to obviously supersede the new Baylor women's basketball coach or some of the other storylines going on. So we take a minute every Tuesday and Thursday at around 4:45, 4:50 to talk about a couple of other types of stories. Vanessa Bryant, have you seen her? She is on a tear. She has named the officers that were apparently passing around, or showing pictures of the helicopter crash that killed her daughter Gianna and husband Kobe Bryant, along with several friends. She had a lawsuit that was filed, and the lawsuit basically told her that because it wasn't like it was put onto the internet or it wasn't shared on Twitter or that type of a thing, that the officers involved or those involved in passing around the picture, I guess, weren't going to face any type of blowback. So the County of Los Angeles responded to it, said there's a lack of basis to sue the deputies. So in her way of trying to get some small measure of revenge, she just named them. She named the deputies that were apparently showing off this picture or these pictures of the crash site. The names had been redacted while a judge was trying to determine whether or not they should be revealed or not. But she's posted screenshots of the 4 deputies, and there's actually some pretty disturbing allegations. One officer in particular named Joey Cruz, and this is why I think you publicly out him, is because if you're Joey Cruz, then there's a chance in the future that somebody's going to try to hire you or just come across your path and maybe give you a little what's up about your behavior. But apparently he was boasting to a bartender at a California grill just 2 days after the crash that he had taken photos. He was showing photos of the accident to people, and the bartender apparently just thought it was weird and explained to some of the other guests at the restaurant, and they all just felt it was very, very disturbing. So that customer ended up filing an official complaint with the sheriff's department while they were still in the parking lot of the restaurant getting ready to leave. That's how bothered they were by it. He's also apparently shown the photos to his niece, made remarks about it, showed it to other bar patrons. He's shown zooming in on his camera on security camera footage at the bar. So Officer Cruz, scumbag. But Vanessa Bryant's got his name and the others out there, but it doesn't appear as though she's going to be able to do much as far as any type of legal punishment because, again, they didn't necessarily post them online and spread. So her legal team's actually going to go through and try to get any kind of a computer footprint of where they may have shared it on like a forum or something like that to see if there's any repercussions there. So just to follow up a little bit on the Kobe Bryant story, her lawsuit against these police officers, not going to amount to much, but she still got a little measure of revenge.
That's not their job.
No, it's not
to do that. That's not part of their job. Their job, and the people who do that excellently, and there are many thousands and thousands of excellent police officers. You're supposed to shield the public from that.
Yes,
you're supposed to protect people from that. You volunteered, you signed up for that job because you can take it. And the strong people can take it, and you're supposed to, and that's just not what they're supposed to do.
Yeah. Another officer, Deputy Michael Russell, allegedly sent the photos to a friend that he plays video games with. The lawsuit had alleged that within 48 hours of the crash, photos had spread to at least 10 members of the department, including a deputy who had taken between 25 and 100 photos on his personal cell phone at the crash site. So just what's wrong with people? You know what I mean? So anyways, just a kind of an update there that the lawsuit doesn't look like it's going to move forward, but she did, try to get some small measure of revenge. This is not a big deal, but Carmelo Anthony's still in the NBA. All these years later, he just passed Elvin Hayes, 10th on the all-time scoring list. So he got an and-one three-pointer in the third quarter that bumped him over Elvin Hayes all-time. So yes, Carmelo Anthony now top 10. Of course, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar still leads the league, 38,387 points. Karl Malone right behind him. LeBron James is third. He's the only current player in the NBA that's a top 10 all-time scorer. He's got more than 35,000, so he's going to crush the overall record. I mean, he's less than 5,000 away from Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and you got to think he's got another 5 seasons or so probably still left. So, congrats to Carmelo Anthony. He's probably never going to live up to what he was at some point in time, but a top 10 all-time scorer, you can't, or a top 10 all-time scorer. That's pretty impressive stuff right there.
That's amazing. He's been playing since 2003.
Yeah, him and LeBron came in about the exact same time. Yeah.
So how many points behind is he? Does it have who's ninth?
It didn't have the full list.
Okay.
I can try and look that up while we're doing that. But I mean, LeBron's going to end up crushing that record, it appears. But Carmelo's at least going to be, that's going to be on his Hall of Fame resume. So he's 10th. Okay, Kareem, 38,387. Karl Malone, 36.9. LeBron James, 35.3. There's Kobe, Mike, Dirk, Wilt, Shaq, Moses, and Carmelo.
Not a bad list, Paul, to be a part of, huh?
No, I know.
Yeah, it's like,
and it is. I mean, Carmelo. Unfortunately for him, to his own end or not, I don't know if it's his fault or not. It's just like you list all those other guys, and there's championships behind
Lots
them.
of rings.
the most he's ever scored in a season was 2,112 twice. And that was during part of his prime. He's averaging about 800, 900 points a year. But still, you could keep on chunking away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody can ever figure out how to win with what he does.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Did you guys watch
Great in college, man.
Yeah, he was. Won a national title in his 1 year there at Syracuse. Did you guys watch any of the Kentucky Derby this past week?
Of course, I watched the whole race. It's 10.5 long. But
Isn't it like 3 minutes?
Yeah, whatever it is.
Most exciting, whatever in sports.
It's not long. I was very disappointed in Soup and Sandwich, which I thought was the most American horse ever. I mean, nothing, says America like Soup and Sandwich, but also like most of America, when you've eaten a Soup and Sandwich, you can maybe run for a little while, but towards the end, you're going to fall to the back. And while Soup and Sandwich actually led the race for a couple lengths, he finished second to last.
Yep.
So
the title went to Medina Spirit, who is trained by the legendary Bob Baffert. But you kind of wonder with live sports programming, we see it with the ratings. The award shows are plummeting, which for good reason, but across the board, the NBA's down. Really anybody but the NFL. NBC Sports, 14.5 million viewers for the Kentucky Derby. It was the return to the first Saturday in May time slot. More viewers than all award shows for the first time ever, the Kentucky Derby, and the most watched program on NBC since the NFL divisional playoffs back in January. So first, big ratings since in 4 months. 54% increase from last year's event that had sub 10 million, so 14.5 million, and more people would rather watch horses race than Hollywood stars get on stage and talk about themselves.
No question. And one thing is again, the time change. People get focused in, like when the Daytona 500 is, even on some sports that are not like nationwide big time, even though they have their great core fan base. You get used to the Kentucky Derby, you get used to the Daytona 500, you get used to the Triple Crown and whatever else.
Yep, so
Right.
Medina Spirit wins that one. I did see this, and this isn't really too much of a note, but we were talking about HBCUs not that long ago. No players from any HBCUs were drafted in this year's draft, which I've seen a couple of columns from coaches in that league, or in those leagues, that are bemoaning that and aren't real happy with it. But it's kind of like our Big 12 discussion. Like, what do you do about it, really? Like, Deion's doing what he can do, and he's going to get some better players than would normally play in the SWAC or wherever. But, it's just an interesting note. Big 12 locked out of the first round. HBCU's entirely blocked out of the draft. So, like I said, not really a notes per se, is just, interesting.
I do like to see, though, the influx of interest in the HBCUs and the coaches who are going there. Eddie George going to Tennessee State, and I believe Marshall Falk is he at Southern? Is that where he was going? I can't remember, but Marshall Falk getting back in. And look, these guys, I don't know, who knows if all of them can legitimately coach, but if they can get some interest up and get some good coaches underneath them and run good programs and get good players there, I think it'd be great.
Yeah, me too. I think it would be fantastic. But, it's not something I would have thought of. But Doug Williams was commenting on it, obviously, at Grambling, and just thought it was a little bit of interest that they got blocked out entirely. And then Paul sent me this. I'll wrap it up with this. Jawan James, Broncos offensive tackle, he suffered a season-ending torn Achilles working out today away from the team facility. James's $10 million salary, as per Adam Schefter, for the upcoming season is now entirely in jeopardy because Denver no longer is obligated to pay him since he was working out off-site. So he works out off-site, gets hurt, season-ending torn Achilles, And because of where he worked out, the fact that it wasn't a facility, his entire $10 million salary is now entirely in question.
That sucks.
That's
unfortunate.
terrible.
It's not like he was riding a gator
Yep.
or something like that. Also, this Adia Barnes, whose name came up in the Baylor coaching search, University of Arizona coach, just received an extension through the 25-26 season, 5-year contract worth nearly $6 million. And that's one of the things that this shift from Kim Mulkey to LSU, the coaching search at Baylor, who's a blue blood, some of the women's basketball coaches. Joni Taylor got her bump, among some others as well.
You know, all I would need to get a raise if I were a women's basketball coach when a job like Baylor's open. Here's a missed call from Mac Rhodes.
Yeah.
Or just put your name on the 5 for 555. Now,
You're welcome, Molly Miller.
When we come back, rapid fire, David Hellman on the Cowboys draft. Also, we'll hear from Doug Gottlieb on.
Here's a little off the radar. This is I got to. Mark Vidal is signed with Young Money Sports, which is Lil Wayne's sports representation
awesome.
agency. So Mark Vidal just got a shout out from Lil Wayne because he's now signed with Lil Wayne's talent agency. So there's another off the radar story to bring it to a close.
That's great news for him. I wish him the best. I hope he gets a chance to play pro for a long time. Nikki Collin, of course, will be introduced tomorrow. We'll hear from Doug Gottlieb, knew her when he was visiting Marquette as a player. Also, we'll hear from Donnie Nelson of the Mavericks, general manager.